We're back. And we're going to keep coming back. And we're going to keep coming back. I want to thank everybody. I want to start with Tim Walz. Isn't he fantastic? I like to call him Coach Walz. You know, he's done so much for our country, and he's going to make an extraordinary Vice President of the United States. Gwen, I mean, girl, you just killed it, I'm telling you. I mean, you know, there's something, I don't know, my first grade teacher, Mrs. Frances Wilson, attended my law school graduation. I just love teachers. I think anyone who decides to become a teacher, it's one of the greatest gifts that one has that they give. And I thank you, Gwen, for doing all that you have done. Thank you. And my husband is Doug. You are doing so much, and you've been traveling all over our country, and I want to thank you. And you are going to yet again make history as the first gentleman of the United States of America. There are a lot of incredible leaders here. I want to just for a moment mention my friend Bob Casey. We have got to send him back to the United States Senate. For the time that I was in the United States Senate and worked with Bob, I'm going to tell you something. You know, we would have these meetings where all of the Democratic senators would get together for lunch. No cameras in the room. Bob, almost every time, was one of the ones who would stand up in that room with all the other senators from around the country, talking about the working people of Pennsylvania and why we needed to have you in our mind when we were thinking about national policy every single day. That's who Bob Casey is. Let's send him back to the United States Senate. Chris DeLuzio, we want to thank you. What he is doing in the halls of Congress, again, I mean, you sent some fighters to D.C., Pennsylvania. You sent some fighters to D.C. Your next Attorney General, DePasquale, where are you? I've done that work. I know what it requires, and you're going to be outstanding. So you've got a lot of work, Pennsylvania, on your shoulders right now that you're carrying, and you who are here volunteering to do this work. And we're going to get it done. And Malcolm Kenyatta knows exactly what I'm talking about. I see him almost every time I come into the state. So I want to just address you all right now as the volunteers. You know, Tim said it. This campaign for us is really born out of love of country. We all here, we love our country. And we know our country is going to be as strong as our willingness to fight for it. And to fight for what we stand for. You know, when you know what you stand for, you know what to fight for. When you stand for working people, you fight for working people. When you stand for freedom, whether it be to make decisions about your own body or love who you love, you fight for those things. When you believe in ending child poverty, you fight for that. When you believe in what we need to do to lift up the middle class, you fight for the middle class. These are the things we stand for, and these, therefore, are the things we fight for. And that's what our election is about. Our election is about understanding the importance of this beautiful country of ours in terms of what we stand for around the globe as a democracy. As a democracy, we know there's a duality to the nature of democracy. On the one hand, incredible strength when it is intact. What it does for its people to protect and defend their rights, their liberty, and their freedom. Incredibly strong and incredibly fragile. It is only as strong as our willingness to fight for it. And that's what this campaign is about. This campaign is about a recognition that, frankly, over the last several years, there's been this kind of perversion that has taken place, I think, which is to suggest that the measure of the strength of a leader is based on who you beat down, when what we know is the real and true measure of the strength of a leader is based on who you lift up. That's what we see as strength. We know what strength looks like. That's what strength looks like. Anybody who's about beating down other people is a coward. This is what strength looks like. So we know what we are about. We know what we stand for. And one of the beautiful things about these next 79 days is what the people in this room have already been doing and know. Let's build community. Let's reinforce community. You all as volunteers, what you know, and we're going to spread the word, is how you can look at the face of a perfect stranger and see in their face a neighbor. That we see in each other our connection, our interdependence, what we see in each other, which fortifies and reinforces that the vast majority of us have so much more in common than what separates us. That's what this campaign is about. Yes, it is about winning, and we will win. And we will win. And we will win. God willing. And through these next 79 days, we will continue to build community, build coalitions, and remind each other we are all in this together. So I thank you all so very much for what you are doing. Now let's get back to work, shall we?